Okay, so diving in today, Bitcoin. But not just like, what's the price doing,
Right, right.
Like deeper, the whole network thing, how it actually ticks.
Yeah, the nuts and bolts, all the engineering that keeps it running. Kind of like how, I don't know, the internet itself just keeps going, but there's tons of work behind the scenes.
Exactly. And we've got, I guess, a VIP of that world today,
Huh?
Gloria Zhao. Not just a coder, though, right?
Definitely not. She's like a core developer, Bitcoin core. But her impact, I mean, it goes way beyond writing the code itself. It's about, Bitcoin's whole future. Like, how does it handle more people using it? Can it stay private and secure? All that.
Big questions.
Mm.
And that's sort of the mission here, yeah. We're going deep on Gloria Zhao. What's she done? What's she working on now? It's technical, sure, but it's also like philosophy almost. How do we build these open systems that nobody can just shut down?
Right. And we've got a great source for this, an article. The title's a bit of a mouthful, but it's Gloria Zhao y la arquitectura de confianza en Bitcoin Core. Basically about innovation, governance, and how that software gets made. Really critical stuff.
Okay, so before we get too deep in the weeds, back up a sec. Who is Gloria Zhao? Like, what's her story? The article mentioned UC Berkeley, so smart cookie from the start.
Oh, for sure. Berkeley, that's where she really got into, like, the deep stuff, cryptography, distributed systems, all those building blocks of how Bitcoin actually works. So having that academic foundation, it's huge when you're talking about a system that's, live worldwide and worth a fortune.
Right, but from theory to actually working on Bitcoin,
Yeah.
that's a jump. How'd that happen?
So there's this program, Brink, nonprofit, specifically supports Bitcoin devs, the open source kind, gives them funding, resources, super competitive. That's how she got into the thick of it, really contributing to Bitcoin Core, which, by the way, is the main software, the heart of the whole thing.
It's kind of wild, right?
Yeah.
Like, every line of code these folks write, it could affect, what, billions of dollars? No pressure.
Oh, yeah, huge responsibility. And that leads us to what she's actually done. This article really focuses on her work with the mempool.
Mempool. Sounds kind of technical.
It is, a bit. Basically, imagine it's like the waiting room for Bitcoin transactions. So you send some Bitcoin, it hangs out in the mempool till the miners confirm it, then it's officially on the blockchain. Her work, it's about making that whole process smoother, more efficient.
Okay, so behind the scenes stuff, but important. And there's this thing, package relay, connected to that, right?
Yeah, that's key. Think of it like, instead of each Bitcoin transaction being solo, package relay lets you group them. Like you send some Bitcoin, then you spend that Bitcoin in another transaction they're linked. Package relay makes sure they get processed together smoothly, even if the first one's not fully confirmed yet. Especially helpful for, like, a whole chain of transactions.
So the network sees the bigger picture, not just bits and pieces. And the article mentioned that this unlocks some cool stuff.
Right. So one thing is, it opens the door to more complex uses. Simple smart contracts, for example, where you need multiple transactions to happen in a specific order. It also helps a lot with privacy, using this trick called child pays for parent, or CPFP.
Catchy name.
Basically, let's say you sent a transaction, but the fee was too low, so it's stuck. CPFP lets you add another transaction on top of that with a higher fee. Miners see that and they're like, ooh, money. So they process the whole chain, including your original stuck one. Gives you more control.
Sneaky. And it helps with that Lightning Network thing too, right?
Yeah.
For those who don't know, that's like a faster, cheaper layer built on top of Bitcoin.
Exactly. Lightning needs these efficient off-chain transactions, and Package Relay helps make sure that when you move things on or off the main Bitcoin blockchain, it all works smoothly. What's really interesting, though, the article points out, is that Gloria Zhao is known for this minimalist approach. Like, she wants the most efficient solutions, but without adding unnecessary complexity, because that can mean security risks or, hurting Bitcoin's whole decentralized thing.
Right. Keep it simple, keep it secure. Makes sense when you're dealing with something as valuable and decentralized as Bitcoin. Which, speaking of, how do they even change anything with Bitcoin? It's not like you just push an update button, right? The article called Bitcoin Core's approach deeply conservative.
For good reason, though. Think about it. It's a global network, tons of money involved. Any change to the core rule, it's risky business. They got to be careful.
So how does anything get done?
Peer review, but like hardcore peer review. Any change someone proposes, it gets looked at by a ton of experts all over the world. They check the code, the architecture, any possible problems, even long-term consequences. It takes time, a lot of time.
But that's what keeps it from being like one person just deciding, right, is this whole community thing.
Absolutely. That's how they avoid like some central authority controlling everything, or those super fast updates that can break things. The article made a good point, contrasting Bitcoin with other networks. Bitcoin's more like slow and steady wins the race. They're not rushing features out the door. They're focused on making it last.
Resilient, right, that's the word. But there's got to be challenges. What's on Gloria Zhao's radar these days?
So the article laid out three big ones. Scalability, for one. How can Bitcoin handle way more transactions without getting super expensive or hard to run? Because that could lead to centralization. Like if only a few huge players can afford to be full nodes, that's bad for everyone.
Right, defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah.
What else?
Privacy. Bitcoin's kind of pseudonymous, but all the transactions are public, which can be analyzed. So how do you increase privacy for users while also keeping the whole system transparent and verifiable?
Tough balance.
And the last one, upgrading the core rules themselves, a consensus mechanism. How do you change something that fundamental without splitting the community or creating security holes? Getting everyone on the same page for something that big, it's a huge challenge.
And the article made a point that it's not just about technical solutions, right? There's all this social economic stuff tied in.
Exactly. The code they write, it affects how Bitcoin functions in the real world, not just on a computer screen. And this ties into how Bitcoin is perceived, in the whole crypto world. There's so much hype, new stuff popping up constantly, so Bitcoin sometimes gets called, slow or outdated.
But Gloria Zhao seems to be spinning that in a different way, right? Like slow is actually good. It's about being strong.
Right. Structural resilience. That's the idea. They're taking their time to get things right rather than just chasing the latest trend.
Yeah.
The goal is to be the most secure, most decentralized network, even if it's not the flashiest. It's about endurance, long-term thinking.
Not just speed. Total different mindset.
Yeah.
And speaking of different, the article also talked about diversity, right? Gloria Zhao being a woman in a field that's, let's be honest, mostly guys.
Yeah, and it's important. It shows that anyone can contribute. You don't have to fit a certain mold. There's this great quote from her in the article, encouraging new folks, especially young women, to get involved.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. No necesitas saber todo. Lo importante es empezar. You don't need to know everything. Just start. Pretty powerful.
It's all about that open source spirit, Knowledge is free. People help each other out. It's collaborative. It's not about who's in charge. It's about building something together.
So taking a step back, I think what we're seeing with Gloria Zhao, it's a glimpse into how complex Bitcoin really is.
Yeah.
And how much thought goes into every decision. It's more than just like digital money. It's this whole evolving system. And it raises big questions about how we build stuff online.
Yeah, totally. That focus on security, decentralization, not being controlled by anyone, it's not just talk. It's at the heart of everything they do. And Gloria Zhao, her approach, it's all about research, consensus, thinking long term. That's what keeps it strong.
It's a good reminder, I think, especially now when everything's so connected, so much data flying around. How do we build things that are truly resilient?
And that's something for you to think about, dear listener.
Yeah.
We've got these different philosophies in crypto, right? Some folks want to move fast, break things. Others are more cautious. What's the right balance, especially for something like Bitcoin that's meant to last? Big question.
Yeah, it really makes you think.
It does.